Hi, good day. This is Yaniv Naor speaking from Hugo Boss. I'm happy that you are able to join us for this session of Customer Analytics, the yellow brick road from data management to customer insights. So a bit of bio. I came from the master data management stream for the last 15 years, working in various industries in supply chain, logistics, HR, ERP, and currently I'm the senior global master data management strategist for Hugo Boss within the customer data management stream. I'm honored to present in this Data Summit 2030. My presentation today is one of many presentations that I've presented in the past in various conferences regarding customer journey and customer data from master data vision to maturity through different stages in the customer master data world. All these presentations are aligned into the customer master data stream, right, from a retail perspective. In today's agenda, we'll talk about who is Hugo Boss, what we Hugo Boss, what do we do. We'll talk about the major milestones of an MDM strategy, as you all recall. We'll talk about customer analytics and the use of analytical models in retail. Let's get started. So Hugo Boss, we are a fashion company located here in Germany in the headquarters in Metzingen. And we desire to be the most pure fashion brand out there for you, our customers. We realize that in the last couple of years, the market has been changing. And for us to be accurate, we need to have two factors that will drive our business. One of them is personalization, getting the right personal clothing for the customers themselves. And we need to be on speed, which means we have to be very, very fast with the decision making, very, very fast with the calculations, and very, very fast with the delivery as well. So we want to reach the next level of personalization by allowing our customers to experience personalization in both communications, our campaignings, and in our products. We have various products that we sell out to our customers with the possibility to have personalized naming on top and so on. But we would like to personalize the communications on the other hand, so that every email that you receive or every printed mail that you receive from us will be addressed to you, right? So with your needs, with your previous and purchases and so on, and recommendations. As I said before, we would provide personalized customer experience tailored to the need of our customers in every touch point, right? From product to services and communications. As you see, we've defined this goal for our basic understanding, and this is the approach that we'll follow, trying to be personalized as much as we can, providing every single touch point with its own personalization to make your shopping experience, which we'll talk about in a few minutes, much more enjoyable. So customer data and analytics strategy. The vision, as I said, we strive for the best in class services based on personal, emotional relationships with our customers all across our touch points. And touch points could be either online, offline, and so on. We have various touch points. You can see us in the stores. When we have COVID-19 now, you can see us on the apps, on the websites. So we are all over the place just for you to be engaged with us. And our mission as the owners of the customer data, when we try to centralize everything, right? We are very customer centricity is our top focus. So we drive customer centricity through our data-driven organization's decision. Okay, we drew this very nice diagram here showing that customer master data management is in the center of everything for us. On top of that, we build analytics and technology, which both help us in our value chain, which is the back end of our business, right? Decision making, buying, production, logistics, and so on, but also in the front end of our business, which is the impact for you guys. It's the customer journey where you can feel, see, and purchase our products throughout. The use of customer data in retail. Why do we need your customer data? Why do we need your personal information? Why do we need to understand what you do with your data or what we do with your data? First of all, we use the data in a couple of essence. First, we need to use the data in order to increase our company's revenue with the support of the omni-channel processes. We interact with customers, number one priority, right? Our interaction with you, our customers, is the core of our business. Without the interaction, we will have no business. Data quality is one major challenge when we deal with customers' interactions, right? So assuming that we send out an email to a person with the wrong title, Mr. instead of Mrs., or vice versa, or wrong surname, this is affecting our personalization and does affect the customer experience as well. Data-driven retail organization is more likely to have tailored interactions with our customers, right? We want to be in understanding of who you are so we can actually contact you in the way you're supposed to be contacted and campaign you in the way we feel is the best for you, right? Personalize our outreach to you. Integrate supply chain activities with shopping experience. And of course, we would like at the end to cut the returns, meaning that we will send you a product and it will not be returned to our branches because it suits you and it's good for you, right? This is a major challenge here that we see in Germany because in Germany, people can buy and return without any costs. The costs are on the company, so we would like to reduce that as well. So a couple of definitions. Master data management, as we all heard probably throughout the sessions today, we attempt to achieve the business value usable data-based improved processes, right? This usually reveals many of the organization's problems and issues. We all know that, which should be solved in order to make the organization agile and efficient. We have a very difficult job as master data managers and stewards, cleaning the data, looking at the data, trying to solve problems, right? This is a very difficult understanding. And we also have to communicate it to the organization, why we're doing the things we do, in order for them to understand that this has added value. How do we do it will be in the next slide. But just prior to that, data-driven organization, what does it really mean? Data-driven organization means that this is an organization that is making his business decision based on the data that they have rather than on gut feelings like in the past, right? Everything is impacted and has a base fact data. Now, what happens if that data is corrupted or the data is not aligned? Most probably the decisions will be skewed as well, right? And this is our job to make sure that the data that serves as the core foundation for this data-driven organization is aligned and governed. So major milestones of an MDM strategy. So we said that the MDM usually provides a linkage between business and IT in the organization, but I've seen various constellations where the MDM team sat either in the business or in the IT or had some joint responsibility of both. Personally, I think that it's good to have the MDM team in the business because we understand the business needs, but we have to have an IT knowledge to actually talk in the IT language, trying to help the IT colleagues, right? As you can see on this nice little picture here, we have a lot of common grounds with various stakeholders in the organization. We're working with the BI, we're working with the analytics, we automate processes for governance, we try to improve customer experience, reduction of costs, we do agile work and agile changes. I'm also working with compliance and risk management, customer data. This is the new thing out that has to be compliant and has a legal backbone that is governed by the legal laws with GDPR regulations. So we are there to actually support with the GDPR regulations, and we support with the campaigning team. So many critical functions in the organizations that we're working with, but everything adds up to the basis, right? To our data, our data ownership. This is why we are in the center. In order for us to actually have accurate data that serves many stakeholders around the organization, as stated before, in our strategy, we've defined 6 steps, which 4 of them are called the data quality program. First of all, we profile the data. We understand what data we have, what we do with it. We look if the data is accurate or not. When the data is defined and refined, we have a data consolidation, means we take data from various sources. We could take data from the online shops. We take data from the offline. We combine them together, right? After combining it together, we cleanse the data so that they are all accurate. So we have, for example, the same customer ID, which would be used in the online shop and in the offline shop, so that we know it's the same customer, right? So in the future, if the customer would like to see some of his transactions or purchases, orders, no matter where the store where he did it, offline or online, we will see that, right, under the same customer ID. Once we've done that, when we cleanse the data, we actually govern the data. We define business rules and IT rules, how to look at the data and how to make sure that the data that comes in and goes out from the data management system is accurate, right? For the use of the other counterparting systems, right? So business use for data governance, for example, would be deduplication rules, email address validation, physical address validation, and so on and so forth. Once we do that, we are able also to have this unique golden record, right? Customer golden record in our case. And sometimes we would like to enrich it with some more data. Now, data could be purchased from several places, could be used from an external third party. For example, if we look at social media today, we could use some of the behavioral data, right, in the social media of the customer, to enrich our customer profile. I'll talk about it in a couple of minutes. And following that, we share our data, right, with the different stakeholders for their usage. For example, campaigning. Took this nice slide from McKinsey here. And we all know that the data sources are growing as we go along. We have more and more sources where people interact with. If in the past, for example, we had only Facebook, today there's so many social media aspects, right? We have Facebook and Twitter and Twitch for the young ones, and for gaming and so on and so forth, right? On the other hand, we have a lot of offline information. We have a lot of information that's been consolidated through a DMP, right? We have a lot of things going around the web with the cookies, for example, different touch points of the customer, and data is growing, right? And the idea is today that there are different ways to analyze the data and create use of that. But in order for the organization to be relevant, right, and fast to speed, it has to orchestrate the four abilities: data, decisioning, designing, and distribution, right? A new marketing tool or concept is called the CDP, Customer Data Platform, which actually is not the same as an MDM tool, but what it does, it actually aligns the data as well, but in aspect of orientation to marketing requirements rather than data governance as we do in MDM. But as I said before, the MDM world is now increasing with the amount of data that's been created in the past couple of years, right? And would only be increasing in the future as well. So in our eyes, our task is to ensure a seamless customer journey throughout our touch points, meaning that when you log into the website and you log off, and you go to the store, right? Or you're on your app and so on, you will see the same information. It's all aligned, it's all unique, right? For you, and you will not feel any difference whatsoever, whatever tool you choose to do, or I would say offline in this case as well, right? But in order for us to make sure that this customer journey is seamless, we have to make a lot of work at the back end to align all these different data infrastructures. We have to align the data entries from different touch points and so on, just to make sure that they're all aligned for your seamless journey. Now, what is a customer profile? We all talk about profiling. Now, there are two meanings of profiling. Profiling data would mean that we look at the data and we try to understand what data is, right? Different methods of doing that through different tools. We can look at the size of the attribute and so on and so forth. But this is data profiling. Customer profiling is very much the same. But what we try to achieve is we try to understand who stands behind the name, for example, of person X, right? I put this avatar here with this lot of digits and numbers just to emphasize that each one of us, right, today is built out of a lot of numbers and digits. What does it mean? It means that we are all providing data, and if we combine this data in the right manner, we could understand who the customer is behind the scene. If you look at my social behavior, or you look at my online and offline behavior, you could build some kind of an aspect who I am and what are my preferences and so on and so forth. And what we try to do with the customer data, trying to understand all the aspects of the behavior, the geolocation and so on of the customer, in order for us to make sure that the journey that we try to provide this customer is much easier, right? And is more accurate comparing to what was in the past where we all had the same, right? So we look at the customer itself. It's much easier to attract more customers when you actually know about your current customers, who they are, right? If I approach person X saying, I know who you are, thank you for shopping with us, right? Because you did this in the online, he would feel much better than I'd say, hello, I am so and so, and we sell so and so products, right? Without knowing that he's already one of our customers. So always knowing our customers is the better idea. The customer journey consists of logically three sections. First of all, there's a lot of competition outside, right? So customers looking at one of the offers of what the company has to sell or has to provide, right? When a customer considers, this is the first stage. When he shops for the product, this is the second part. But the third and not least is the enjoyment. If you like the purchase behavior, if you buy something and you like it, you would probably return, and you will also talk about it to your friends and your colleagues. If we take, for example, Amazon, the user interface is very, very easy. We look at one product, we do it quite often, we like the customer engagement, and we will come back and return to that, right? And this is a good customer experience. But if you go to one of these websites where you press a item, you put it in the basket, you log in from another computer, the basket is empty again, you forgot, and you have to go through a lot of hustle trying to remember what you did in the past, probably you will not return to that website because you will not feel that this is engaged enough for your service. Everything has to be fast and efficient. So how do we build a customer profile in our organization, and what are the 4 steps that we are using? And you can see this already by the pyramid. It's a bit of given away for us, so let's talk about it. The master data management is the core foundation of everything. We use to modify the data, govern it, and provide a single truth of data for our customers or for our customer information in all of our platforms, whether it's online, offline, in the cash desk, and so on. Once we have defined this data management layer, right, and unify the data, the next thing we do is we build analytical models on top of that. And these ones are used to refine the customer profile, knowing that I am a man living in Germany, but what can we do with that? Who am I actually? So this is the analytic models that will tell us if I'm a good customer, a worthwhile, an investment customer. Is it worth for me to return to the company or for the company to invest in me buying one or more product? Am I a one-timer or a long-timer customer? Following that use of analytical models, we build the campaigning layer, right? And this is how we campaign our customers. Seeing that you're a valuable customer, we would like to campaign you and offer you more products that are on the list, right? But we use the models to define which campaign goes to which customer and so on. And following all of that, we have to have some kind of ending layer. This is the reporting. And the reporting layer is used for measuring and for continuous improvement of the data. So acquiring the ideal customer. In the past, we used the campaign all with the same. For example, we offer one pair of shoes, everybody can use it. It's size from 35 to 45. This is nice. But could it be that the approach has changed? Today, certain people look for certain aspects in their products. Some would like high heel shoes, some would like flat shoes, and so on. And I, as the marketer, I would like to send the right information to the right customer, because if I send it to the wrong information to the wrong customer, most probably we will not have a purchase there, right? So the approach has changed, and now we do more personal marketing campaigns, which means we try to aim and try to score with the right personal customization marketed campaign to the customer's requirement. But in order for us to segment our customers and get this 360 degrees view, which is a nice buzzword, right, of who the customer is, we would use a couple of segments. First of all, we use descriptive data, deciding who the customer is. And how do we do that? We have the different attributes that define the customer. Personal information, for example, it's a Mr. or a Mrs. The date of birth could be one of these descriptive data. We have self-declared information. You say on social media, I like to go touring with my motorcycle, for example, right? This talks about who you are as a personality. And of course, geographics. I live in Germany in a certain location, or I live in the US. Could be that people that live in different locations need different kind of clothes as well, right? If it's warm, if it's cold, and so on. How do we use the information? We use this with the interaction of data. We can communicate to you via various touch points. Email communication would be one example. We would use the call centers when you call us. So we record the calls, we understand. We could use this information to later analyze how was the behavior of the customer. Was he happy? Was he not happy? Sometimes when you call the bank, they say, we record your information just to make sure that this is approved. We also can look at clicks. Customers click different places on the website, or how the customer has reached our website. Where did he surf through? Was it first from Google, knowing that he wants to come to the website, or was it by mistake, seeing some kind of ad, right? And we have some inspiration dialogues. We spoke to customers on the shop who understand who they are, and so on and so forth. The next segment is the why, right? Attitude data, additional data, right? We do a market research. We understand the behavior. As before, if you like to camp outside or tour outside with your motorbike, what kind of person are you? Are you a person that is like outdoor activities? Are you an indoor kind of guy? And so on and so forth. What do you post on your Facebook? What do you post on your YouTube? What do you look at? This all gives us an understanding of who you are. And the more information we have, the more refined customer profile we have of who the customer is. The last segment would be the what? Behavioral data, right? How do you shop? Do you, like myself, look at Amazon, put a lot of things in the basket, and then choose what to buy one by one? Or do you immediately buy? Do you have a payment history which is done with a lot of churn? You buy and you return, or you just buy and you don't return, right? Depends on how you behave as well. So all these different types of segmentations build this avatar that we showed before of customer profiling. Now, as we said, we have the customer data layer. On top of that, we use the segmentation, and now we come to the analytical models in retail, right? To make an understanding, sometimes it's more expensive, right, to keep a current customer, right, than trying to get a new one, right? But many questions arise from this this sentence that I just said before, right, about the customer behavior. Are all customers valuable to the organization? If I went to the shop and bought a pair of socks that cost €5, right? Am I a valuable customer? Would I return? Was it a one-time shopping experience? Or was it just something that I just try to see if I like or I don't like, right? And the organization will have to decide, he paid €5, but is it worthwhile for us to pay €50 on campaigning every year or not? How long and how much would the organization invest in keeping this customer? If we took this example of this person buying socks for €5, right? Is it worth keeping him? Could it be that he bought one product that will be a beginning of a long life relationship with the company, starting with socks and then going on to different products? Or was it a one-time customer that just purchased socks because he was in need of an urgent, immediate product? Are existing customers high spenders? Could be that I just purchased a suit for €2,000, right? And a pair of shoes and so on, right? And this on the yearly chart, I would look like a very high spender, but I use it only for one wedding and that's it. Or could be that I bought 5 pairs of trousers, different sizes, right? They all cost €50 each, so it's 250 in total, and I returned 4 of them. Am I considered a high spender or a high return rate? So these questions are things that we have to take into consideration while we try to understand who the customer are, right? So this is another added value of the customer's profile, understanding what he does and how he behaves. And the last but not least is, what is our relationship with the customer? Do we meet only once he goes to the shop? Do we see him often online? Do we know the person? As you see in our shops, when you come into the store, quite often the store managers, they know you, different behavior, different experience, because you feel that it's more personal because you are there with somebody who already talks to you and knows what you did in the past, right? So what I will try and give us an understanding of is some of the analytical models that we use, right, in order to clarify the information about our customers and improve the way we experience the behavior of our customers, but actually the way you would experience the customer journey based on what we understand from you, right? We will focus on 2 analytical models, which are very, very basic and very well known, right? One of them will be the RFM, and one of them will be the CLV, right? RFM, recency, frequency, and monetary values, and CLV, customer lifetime value, and I will explain each one in detail. And we'll just go through some examples so you can see that you understand what they actually mean. The first model is the RFM. We talks about customer lifetime value. This is as a part of the customer lifetime value, but this model specifically grants a score to each customer based on three major factors. One is the recency. How often does the customer come to the store to buy? And when I say store, could be that he comes to the online or the offline, right? For us, it's both the same. It's a store. So recency, so again, recently, when was the last time he actually purchased? Was it recent or not? And if I mix up, I'm sorry. Frequency is how often the customer is coming to the store. And monetary value is how much money he is actually spent in the store. Now, with this RFM score, we actually have different scoring for each value, right? Different percentage. And by that, we give our customers a score, meaning customer A could be much better than customer B, right? Because he spent much more, he was in the store more often, and he is likely to come back. Comparing to a customer who was in the store once, paid a high amount, but will never come back again. So all these three factors of recency, how often, when was the last one, frequency, how often he's returning to the store, and monetary value, they all have a combined factor to decide how valuable the customer is to the organization or not. How do we see that? We have made this matrix, which is very, very interesting, right? If you look on the left-hand side of the screen, you see that we have a period of time from November 16 to October 17, right? We look at the quantiles, and on the top you see the quantiles from November 17 to October 18, right? This is just sample data. And based on our calculations and using the RFM model, we would see how customers shift from one quantile to another, meaning other high spenders or high RFM score comparing to low RFM score, right? And if you were a one-timer, probably you would be, in 1 year, you'd be very high, but then throughout the time, you would probably be shifting. The optimal, of course, are people that pay a lot, come often, right? Come recently as well to the stores, and they would probably be in quantile number 1. People who have less purchases, the score is a bit lower, right, and so on, they will probably be shifting to quantile number 2. This is the red parts, and so on and so forth. So you'll see the red parts here are people that shifted from their quantile down to the east, to the right-hand side of the screen, right? People who actually upgraded from one quantile to another would be in the green areas, right? As you see here, for example, people that actually grew up into the first quantile in November, but they were in the second quantile in October, right? Year before. So you see that 12% have actually shifted and became better customers. And of course, the not happy part of the chart is the inactives. It probably could be a one-timers, like this person who bought the suit for a very large amount of money. He was in the first quintile in 2017, and he never returned, and we probably lost him. So he's inactive, right, in 2018 or 17, 18, and then we lost that customer. On the other hand, on the lower chart, we have this new customers, people who were not there in the past. So we cannot state how they were behaving in the past, but we know how they are today, and we see that they are in the new section, right, under the different quantiles, based again on their RFM score. So this is how this chart looks like, trying to give us an assumption of where we have to improve, probably in the communication in one stage, what we did in the past and how it did affect. You see this one in the green section, and the ones that stayed the same are the ones that did not move from 1 year to another. The percentages of each section in the RFM score, in the recency, frequency, and monetary value, each section is getting a different weight between different organizations, right? I took this example saying, for example, a good percentage for a car manufacturer would be to look at the different time span between 3 years, right? So you would change your car most likely every 3 years. So probably their RFM would look like 3 years difference, right? Where, for example, a hardware company or a store company will look at a monthly basis, right? If we look at the grocery stores, they would probably look at monthly payments or weekly payments of different customers and how their basket behaves, right? Time frame is very important, right? It plays a very big role into different organizations and the way they calculate their RFM scoring. So this model is one of the basics, right? A very, very known model to understand how the customer behavior looks like and how it's trending throughout time. The next thing we have to talk about is the customer lifetime value, which consists of a couple of small segments. First of all is customer loyalty. What is customer loyalty, right? So today in towards the past, there's a very big change in the loyalty of how we are towards an organization, towards a certain brand, right? If in the past I used to buy my shoes at a local shoe store, right? Because I knew the person, the salesman, I knew the place, I knew the experience and so on, and I'd like one specific kind of shoes, I'd probably go there and buy it over and over again. But today with so many options evolving, buying online, so many websites from abroad, same location, right? Buying from different different websites, buying different stores as well. You know, the variety has grown, right? It's much more difficult to keep a customer loyal than to lose him because of this big competitiveness that is increasing, right? But in order for us to make our customers loyal and still come and pick our products and be a part of our brand in a way, right? We have to be very, very proactive. Meaning we have to do something to engage these customers, right? We have to build our trust, right? That you trust us, that the products are good, that the experience is something that you're welcome with, right? That you feel welcome, that you want to come and purchase our products because you feel that you're a part of the organization in a way as well, right? We will reward loyal customers, meaning if you come over and over again, you get discounts, you get different benefits, right? Because you are showing us that you care about us the way we care about yourself, right? High quality service is a very big factor. If you are happy with the service, you will most likely to return. If you're not happy with the service and you feel that there was something missing, you will probably not come back, right? And will not actually, and you'll do much more damage to the organization by saying they did ABC, which I didn't like, right? Rather than they did a good thing, right? So people actually have the tendency to make more damage by saying what is no good rather than what is good. So high quality service is a very big factor for us in order to make you happy with what you receive. And of course, integrity, it goes without saying. So once we gain your loyalty, we have to understand that there's a thing called churn rate, right? So keeping loyal customers would be very, very difficult as well. Calculation of the churn rate is somehow calculated on the average amount of people that leave within a certain period of time. Could be that we said we had this customer who bought the suit one time, he's a one-timer, but he left because he didn't need any suits later on, right? So we would have to calculate how many people leave us or how many dedicated loyal customers that we had actually left. We saw it in the RFM. We see that throughout the behavior as well, right? And the churn rate is calculated by this formula, as you see below. Customers who left over the amount of customers at the period of time, right? We times it by 100 for percentages, and this is our churn rate for that specific period, right? Here we see this nice example: 80 over 1260 gives us 6.35% of people who are literally leaving the organization, or customers who will not return. Loyalty and churn rate are complementary, meaning they all add up. Either you are loyal or you left, right? So it's always a factor of this plus that equals 100. You can't play with that, right? It's divided into two, as you can see here in this nice chart. This is a 50-50%. Converting loyalty rate to customer lifetime cycle in periods. What does that really mean, right? Customer life cycle value, right, is how long we feel that the customer will continue to shop with us. Now, we would like to understand that, right? And we have a couple of formulas that we'll be using, and we'll see an example in a couple of minutes, trying to understand how many years should we expect the customer to be still valuable to us as a customer, right? The formula is 1 over the churn rate, right? So for example, if we have a company that has 100 customers in the beginning of 2019, at the beginning of 2020, we have 60 customers, meaning 40 customers have left, right? Which is about 40%, right? This is the churn rate. If you look at the formula, 100 minus 60 equals 40, 40 after 1 year, 40% churn rate. Now we look at this one as understanding how many, what is the CLV value, right, in years for the remaining customers. And we see 1 over 40 gives us 2.5 years, right? And if you look at this, this nice chart here, you see that the churn rate is 40% and the average lifetime value in years is 2.5, right? In the contrary, you see that the loyalty or retention period is 60. As we said before, it always matches up to 100, right? And the idea is that the lower the churn rate is, the more likely the customer will stay there for longer, right? And this is why this list goes upwards. Again, if we have a 30% churn rate, 30% of the people have left, the staying customers will most likely stay for another 3.25 years in the future. Customer lifetime value is a KPI that measures profitability of the customer over a period of time, right? So CLV is profit per year against the average durationship of the relationship that was calculated just a minute before. CLV is defined as a single monetary amount that measures the potential profit or loss of a customer to a firm or a brand. Basic key facts about the CLV. It's calculated per customer basis, or more likely on the use of an average value within a particular market, right, or a segment. Customer lifetime value usually considered to be a very important marketing metric because of the range of marketing objectives it measures within a single number. And we'll see this example. Customer spends $200 a year purchasing a product from a firm. The firm pays $50 on marketing campaigns in order to personalize the customer's newsletters, right? The average CLV period is 2.5 years. We just shown how this was calculated. CLV, profit per year, over average duration over the relationship. If we look at the numbers, we see 200 is the spend, 50 is what the company spent, over 2.5 years lifetime value in years, CLV in years, we get 150 over 2.5 means the customer is most likely to spend $60, right, in the next upcoming year. And as you said before, we see the calculation. We see this is on the first year or the following year, the customer will probably pay $60. If we look at the second year, right, we have a 16% churn rate, right, because it's 40 over 40, right, and the customer will most likely to pay $24 the following year. And now, as we go along year by year, customers are most likely to reduce the amount of purchases that they have, right? So as time passes since the first purchase, we can see a decrease in profit from the customer if the spending of the customer remains the same, right? If the spending of the customer does not remain the same, right, the model changes a bit. But this is a very, very simplified model, just to give you an understanding how we calculate the lifetime value of the customer. Is it worth marketing to this customer? Is it not? So if I look at the long run, you know, if this added value is lost, the lower it goes, maybe it's not worth the while if the costs of, for example, marketing grow higher, right? This is how we do the cut of deciding what is worth and what is not worth in order for us to invest in or not. Customer analytics, a bit of summary. So the overall of customer analytics, right, is to create a single accurate view of the customer for the group to work with, right, and make decisions, business decisions, how to best acquire customers, how to maintain the customers, how to identify the high value customers, right, and how to properly interact with our customers. We said this is the goal of analytics, bearing in mind that data management was a very, very basic foundation to this topic. Without accurate data, everything that we'll do in the analytical world will all be skewed, right? And we will not get the accurate result that we're looking for. As a side effect, and this is really good to understand, as a side effect from the custom analytics, we do dedicated usage of customer data for their behavior, for their journey, right? We also use these models in order to understand how to operate the business. If we see that, for example, in a certain period of time, here between March and May, a certain fabric is used to create polo shirts, right? Determining the quantity of stock to be ordered means we need to understand maybe we need to buy this material upfront, but maybe not too long. Maybe we don't have to keep it in the warehouse for too long because it has cost of storing information. So we also look at some analytical models in the aspect of supply chain, logistics, right? How they could be also impacted by the use of customer data. So we use the models to understand the customers, but they have added value in trying to understand as well how to operate our business. I would like to thank the Data Summit 2030 team for inviting me to present to you guys. I hope you've enjoyed this nice short session about customer analytics. I'm open for any questions. Feel free to reach out to me. Thank you and have a great remaining session.